Seriously, I'm so hot right now. My metabolism is on fire, and I'm actually on fire. You guys have like elevated me to a whole nother level this week with this mantra and our posts and your guys' enthusiasm and everything that I've been getting from you guys. I'm telling you, this is magnetic. Like what is happening right now and right here is what all of these years that I've been leading up to is like, I feel it. Like this is where we need to put some focus. I see a lot of you that are on here that are like, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? And you know who you are. I'm talking to you and you and you and you. That this is something that we need to really just keep hitting. And I'm going to keep trying to tell you guys different ways why this philosophy that I would like to say is my philosophy. It truly is. This is what I believe in wholeheartedly. There was a time in my life when I wasn't into this, right? When I was competing, how could I say less is more? I was going. I was doing, craziness. But at that time, it worked for my blueprint. I had a mission. I was doing what I needed to do. It worked, right? And I had no kids. You guys know the story. I've told you a million times. It worked during that time in my life, and it perfectly fit my blueprint, okay? So like something fitting your blueprint. This is a really lame example, but it was perfect. Okay, this looks really bad, but it was perfectly fitting my blueprint, right? When it's not fitting your blueprint is when you have to adjust. And so I had to adjust. I had to adjust my plan, my program, my mindset, which was the biggest adjustment for me. And I had to make a shift. And I had to get back to like what I knew with my dad back in the day when it all started, like the home workouts. And I took that and I was like, I gotta do something. I gotta kind of shift this mindset and everything. And I just started doing. And now 10 years later, I'm like, this is a real thing. This less is more really is a real thing, you guys. And the less is more, but I'm gonna tell you why. I'm not saying that you do like 2 minutes a day and that you're gonna get amazing results. There's a reason why this works. And there's a reason why what I've been doing the past 10 years has worked. And I'm going to share all of that with you right now. And I keep thinking about reasons why this works. And so you're going to keep hearing this from me. And I think that it's going to be really good because different points that I hit on are going to hit you in a different way, whether it be today, whether it be next week, whether it be later. We're going to just keep hitting this home. And I really hope that you guys like start to kind of trust me on this mantra, this concept, this everything that I'm talking about. I know it's really, really hard. I'm pulling up my notes. I'm not like texting a friend. I know that it's really, really hard for you guys. I really do, because it seems super foreign, and I'm putting myself in your shoes, and I can imagine, I get it. Like I get how hard it is, because you just think you've got to do all of these things and you have to go crazy, and it's just what we think, right? So I get it. It's really, really hard. And that's why I want you to, I put it all out there in that nice little meme. You've got to trust it. You got to trust the process. You got to trust yourself. You've got to let go of all the BS that you've been hearing. And then you have to have the patience. This is the hardest one, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not even going to happen in a month, you guys. I wish I could tell you that after this, you're going to be like, game changer. Oh my God, body of my dreams, didn't even do as much as I was doing. No, but you're gonna see how, if you continue on this path, that you didn't blow up, that you didn't rebound. You're gonna, like, that's just the start of it, okay? So you've gotta have the patience, because like I said, it's been 10 years post-competing, and I'm like, this works, you guys. Every day I keep getting better. I keep getting stronger mentally, physically, with no injuries. We'll get into that. You got to keep showing up. So consistency, all right? The consistency has got to be there. We're going to talk about that too. So the consistency has to be there. Otherwise, this won't work. And then you got to repeat the cycle. So you got to repeat the trusting, because then you're going to be kind of, we all have those moments or those days where you're like, really, is this really working? Repeat the cycle. You got to trust it. You got to surrender. Be like, okay, I'm in. Then you got to let it go. You've got to have the patience. You got to keep showing up. And then you got to keep repeating that cycle. And you got to just do it day in and day out and day in and day out. And that is why you have all of us to keep you repeating that cycle. Otherwise, you're just like, okay, is anything going to happen? And then eventually, boom, it just all of a sudden clicks and you get it, and it's freedom, freedom. Okay, so I'm like really, really passionate about this, you guys. Like that's why I'm on fire right now. And all week I've been on fire. I believe in this so much, you guys. Okay. So the first thing is, this is why it works. I pulled out 10 reasons. Like I was just semi-blow drying my hair and I was just jotting them down real quickly. I have so many more, but I thought I'd just start with these 10. And then each of these branches off into so many more reasons why, but I'll just hit you with these 10. The first one is it's realistic, okay? If I was having to do what I was doing back in the day, like I wouldn't be able to continue. So it wouldn't be realistic for my life now, crazy business, kids, life, it just wouldn't work. And so this works because it's realistic for everybody. It doesn't matter where you are in life, doesn't matter, you know, if you're a beginner, if you're been at this for a while, if you're a mom, a grandma, if you work, or if you're stay at home, it doesn't matter. It's realistic because life is crazy and busy. And so this less is more approach really works because it's realistic and it's something that you can attain. And then, you know, when it's attainable, then you stick to it. Number 2 is efficiency. So you're more efficient with your time. When you're doing less, like I guarantee now that we're doing less with these Tabatas, I guarantee you're pushing it a little bit more, aren't you? Like you're pushing it a little bit more because you're like, I only have 4 minutes. Or if you're doing like level 2 or 3, like on some of them, I do give you permission to do one more round. So max 12 minutes. So it doesn't matter if you're doing 4, 8, or 12, you're like, okay, I only have a little bit of time and I'm surrendering and I'm trusting and I'm doing all of this. So I'm going to give it my all. Like I'm going to really push hard. So you're being more efficient with the little bit of time that you have. Remember we were talking about that about a month ago or so. Being more efficient when you have less time or you're being forced to have less time. Number 3 is quality. So the quality of your workouts is going to increase. Your quality of your workouts is going to bump up. That is huge because we mindlessly do so much, right? We're mindlessly eating, we're mindlessly working out. I mean, I see it all the time. Well, not anymore, but while I do see it just in my day-to-day, even swimming or when I'm around people, since I work out at home, I don't see people at the gym like I used to, but you see people kind of going through the motions and you're kind of like, you don't want to say anything because you're really happy that people are there and doing something for themselves. And I guess something, even if you're just moving your arm, is better than sitting on your ass at home. However, I'm like, want to say something because I'm like, do you understand that you're already here? You're already showing up. Like, what if we just did this and we would be able to intensify and get better results? You're already here, so let's make the most out of that time. So that is why when you're focusing on quality, you're focusing on the quality of that rep, that quality of that movement, that is going to make a huge difference in your training, in your body, and making that less so much more effective. Number 4, you reduce burnout, okay? So I talked about this in the mantra. You guys, if you didn't hear it, go listen to it, but I'm gonna tell you right here. So this is typically how it works. So let's just use New Year's as an example. This happens throughout the year, but we'll just use New Year's because you guys are all very familiar with what happens January 1st. Okay, so you're excited. You're like, yes, I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to make it happen. Like you are on cloud 9. This is your year. This is when you're going to commit. This is when it's all happening. Okay. Then you're like, boom, off to the races and you go. Like you're on it. You are going hard cardio, going hard workouts, like, and you're loving it. You're on fire. You're feeling good. You're doing all of that stuff. So yay. And then all of a sudden you're like, you burn out because you're like, you can't maintain that. Even if you maintain it for 6 weeks, or some people are able to maintain it for a couple months, or some people are able to maintain it for a couple of years, but then eventually you hit a breaking point. Like you just do, you burn out. It just happens. Like I'd like to know somebody who hasn't burned out. And that's typically what happens like with competitors or people that are like serious athletes. They're crazy going for it. They're in the zone. And then what happens when they're done? They're like, I don't want to see another chicken breast again. I don't want to work out again. It goes from all to nothing. And we want to go to right here where we're right in the middle. So anyway, so they burn out, right? And then they're like, screw this. I am over this, throwing in the towel. I'm done. And then they either stay off the wagon and they're done, or they somehow are like scrolling their phone, or they're, you know, watching something on TV, or they're walking and they see somebody that's inspiring, they have a conversation with a friend, whatever it may be, they're like, I got that fire in me again. They're motivated, and all of a sudden the cycle repeats. But see, they've been already kind of off, so now they're like, they go hard again, and you see how the cycle just starts to repeat. So it's like you start, you get excited, you go hard, you burn out, you throw in the towel. You either throw in the towel forever, or you throw in the towel and then you regain that motivation. Usually people somehow regain motivation, even if it's just a little bit. And then you go hard, and then you repeat. And it's this constant cycle. And I don't want that for you guys. That's why we're on this mission right now. So that's number 4. Number 5 is the lasting results are amazing with the less is more approach, because there's no burnout. So when you have no burnout, because you're not repeating that cycle, because you're not going crazy, you're doing less and being more efficient and all of that, then you don't have that burnout, because you don't feel burnout. You don't feel like you ever need to stop. You don't feel like you can't do this. It's totally realistic. It's working with that blueprint, all of the above. So you keep going. And then what happens when you keep going and you're consistent? You get results, and the results keep coming and coming and coming. And then number 6, hormonal balance. This is a huge one. So why, I want to ask you, like, serious question, like being completely honest here, why, when I was competing, and I'm just using competing because that was my story, that was when I was hitting it hard, and that's like the most real example of going hard that I have. Why was my cycle irregular? But now that I'm doing less, and I would like to say I actually feel like I'm in better shape and healthier for sure, why is my cycle now regular? Very interesting, right? So when you're going crazy, your hormones are out of whack. Like everything's totally thrown off. And then when you start to kind of get back on track and focus on less is more, things like realign and your hormones balance out. And that's why so many people have such amazing results on my plans, because we have everything in check and hormones start to kind of balance out. Extremes are not good, you guys. They're not good. Number 7, injury-free. Can I tell you that I'm not going to say that I've never had an injury, because I remember that when I was training for a marathon, I had some hamstring issues, but nothing crazy. I had piriformis issues, like nothing that I couldn't go to therapy and like work through. Even today, I did notice, like from my swimming, like I'm kind of sore on my shoulder. I noticed this actually yesterday because I used the wall to turn, and I noticed, I was telling my swim partner, I got to be careful because I'm noticing that repetition, like I am noticing that. So I'm not going to say I've never had an injury, but I am going to say that I really don't have a lot of injuries. I've never broken a bone. I don't really feel like I crippled. I can move. I don't. Like I see people all the time that have so many things, and I have to say, knock on wood, or I don't have wood any. Oh yes, wood. I have to say I've never really had like a serious injury. And you guys, I know it's because of how I work out. I know that it's this less is more. I know that it's those ballet moves that I used to do that people used to make fun of me for. It's truly, I truly believe that. I really, really do. So I think that focusing, I know that when you have this mindset that you will avoid injuries, versus imagine like you're stale, you're rusty, you go hard, you're going to get injured. But if you go at a slower pace, but you're consistent, you reduce injuries, and you're able, when you have no injuries, you're able to continue, right? But when you have an injury, look what happens. You usually have to, or forced to stop. And unless you're Vanessa, who's, and so many of you who are able to still focus on what we can control, most people, we're not talking about us, we're talking about other people. They tend to just like, oh, I'm injured, throw in the towel once again, and then the cycle repeats. So when you don't have those injuries, you're able to continue. Here we go, reduce inflammation. Okay, so this is another huge one, partially why I believe this kind of is second to having the injury-free is you reduce inflammation. Your body's super inflamed. When you're going, and you've got all that lactic acid, you're always in this constant, like that's why overtraining is not a good thing. But when you're doing less, you're not in that constant state of cortisol and inflammation and all of that stuff, and your body will fight that. Okay, so we're taking like rest days are so important for the inflammation and for all of that. We're taking it to the next level because we're saying that, yeah, rest days are really important, but when you do less, then your cortisol isn't always through the roof and your lactic acid isn't always through the roof. So you don't have that inflammation in your body all the time. And inflammation is the #1 cause of all these diseases, of all of these issues. So not only are you gonna feel better and your body's feeling good, but you can avoid all those other stresses or inflammation that causes, I don't wanna say the C word, but all of these things. When you're constantly at this like fight or flight, when you're constantly there at that level, that is when you're going to have super high inflammation, stress levels are through the roof, cortisol is through the roof, and it is a complete recipe for disaster. So we reduce inflammation when we work out at this like calmer pace. Okay. Number 9 is we have more time to rest and recover, okay? So piggybacking on that, we're able to rest and recover more. So when we do less, we're able to recover more, which means our bodies are just in a really good place, which is why we're less inflamed, which is why we get less injuries, okay? So this is huge, you guys. We have more time to recover. 2 of the things that I see, the biggest 2 things that I see when people come to me or we have conversations about what's going on is they're overtraining and they are not eating enough. Those are the 2 things. And the overtraining is a huge one where they don't have the recovery time. You never have that recovery time, then you're overtraining and you can't get results. Your body's constantly fighting you. We want to stay in that flow state. And that's what happens when you do this less is more. Number 10, and this is the biggest one, it is so much more enjoyable. You guys, it's so much more enjoyable. I know that some of you are like, but I love my crazy workouts. Like I enjoy them. Really? Like, do you really like to go hard every day, all day, day in and day out, 365 days a year? I argue that that's not super enjoyable for you, but it's enjoyable when it's realistic and you're cruising, you're in that flow state, you have low inflammation, you feel rested, you don't have injuries. You see, it's like so much more enjoyable. And when it's more enjoyable, you're able to stick to it because it's fun. And then you're able to be consistent. You see how this all works? So those are my 10 reasons. We'll dig deeper into those in different ways as I continue to kind of hit this topic home. If you have any questions, let me know. I love all the feedback I'm getting on this whole mindset, okay? This shift. The small daily efforts, you guys, the Tabatas that we're doing, or even the GFIT circuits that we're doing, when we only do those and don't keep adding other things, they're so much bigger and the results are so much greater than the random acts of outrageous effort, okay? So the small daily efforts, that continues to be my favorite quote, success is the sum of the small daily efforts repeated day in and day out. It's those daily efforts that are gonna lead to greater results than those random outrageous bursts of effort, okay? Those, oh my gosh, it's the first of the year, I'm gonna go hard, and then you fall off. Nope, what if we just cruised? This is gonna be way more effective than this, and then this, and then this, and then this, okay? Now, I have to say though, this only works, I have to put this disclaimer out there, this only works if you guys do the work. And what I mean by that is you're mindful with your workout. So now if you're doing less, but you're still just like going through the motions, not gonna work, you guys. If you are doing less and you're still BLTing it as you're cooking dinner, not gonna work, you guys. So it's really important that you're tight on your nutrition. But we have fun ways so that you don't feel restricted, okay? I have a way, I don't care, give it to me. Like, give me your hardest thing. I can't get away with this, Gina. I'm craving this, Gina. I will find a solution. Like, I love doing that stuff. So there's always a way. So when I say be super strict with your diet, I'm not saying broccoli and chicken all day, every day. I'm saying be mindful about your food, okay? We have to be tighter on our plan for this to work. But here's the thing. I feel like because you guys are kind of nervous and fearful of this whole thing, I feel like you're kind of subconsciously gonna be more consistent because you know that you're not working out as much. And so you're like, I gotta be tighter here. And so I'm kind of like, without you realizing it, helping you become more consistent. Eating for purpose is super important. This only works if you're eating for purpose. I have things lined up with a beautiful carb cycling flow, okay? However, if you start to BLT, bites, licks, and tastes, you guys. If you start to bite, lick, and taste, then you're throwing off the flow. So if it's a fat day and you're over here making dinner and you're having, you know, bites of some zucchini bread and bites of your kids, whatever, and you're throwing off the flow. It was a fat day and I had everything mapped out, and now you're throwing carbs into the mix. Well, it's no longer a fat day. Now it's just a hodgepodge fat carb everything day. It throws it off. So you really need to eat for purpose and follow the plans. Otherwise, this won't work. The other thing is you guys, it teaches you to get more creative. So you're not feeling like you're dieting or you're restricted. I don't want you ever feeling that way. If we felt that way, it wouldn't be enjoyable and we wouldn't stick to it. If I felt restricted, I wouldn't be able to stick to it. I love my food. I love big ass salads. I love how we can eating more. So we work out less, we eat more. And you guys know how we do that. And we'll get into that too. But there's ways to volumize your food, your meals, so you don't feel restricted, okay? So I'm gonna repeat that, you guys. This less is more only works if you guys do the work. It only works if you guys follow and eat for purpose. So at the end of the month, when you're like, okay, I did all the workouts, Gina, I totally cut back, I trusted in you, I surrendered, I followed that whole little equation, and like, I didn't get the results that I wanted. If anything, I feel kind of worse. I'm gonna ask you, did you stick to the plan? Were you eating for purpose? Did you eat the BLTs? Did you cut the sugar? Oh, it's Halloween's coming up. There was probably sugar at your office. Did you dig into the sugar at the office? And I guarantee the answer is going to be like, oh, no, I did not eat for purpose. And that is going to be why it doesn't work. Okay? So super important, you guys, because I have to put that disclaimer out there. Less is more does not work if you guys don't follow up and do all these things that I'm talking about. Okay? Oh, and then the last one on this is that I feel like people work out like crazy, to not only because they feel like that's what it takes, but because of all the BLTs, because of the extra things that they grab at the office or mindlessly, they don't even realize. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I totally ate that whole bag of chips. I didn't even realize it. Now I got to go work out for 2 hours. I kind of feel like that's a lot of why the cycle. People use the workouts and the crazy workouts as a cycle to make up for all of the damage that they've done during the day, during the week, or even like at the party that they just had, or whatever it is. I feel like it's kind of like this constant, I did this, so now I've got to do all of this. How unfun is that? How unfun is that? I've been there, you guys. I've been there where I've housed some peanut butter and probably a whole lot more than I should have. And then I felt the need to do like, throw in my Tybo tapes and do a bunch of different Tybo workouts. And I've totally been there. And it works for a while where we're able to kind of stay in an okay place because we're making up for it, but it's not fun. It's not healthy. So I just don't want that extreme. We're trying to stay here and not here and here and here and here. Okay? Yeah, so I guess just quality over quantity is what we're focusing on in our training, in our diets, with our people that we surround ourselves with. If we can take this less is more approach in every single area of our life, except for our veggies, except for that area, magic. Less is more, less friendships, but more quality friendships. Less followers, but more quality followers. Less working out, but more quality workouts. Quality, quality, quality over quantity any day of the week. That's truly what I believe.